Hello everyone, welcome, and I'm glad you could join me. You know, when I make my videos, it's always to show you a fun and interesting design or technique, and today is no exception. I recently saw on Pinterest or YouTube a card design technique, really, that's called a split. Let me see, what's it called? A split card design. And what it does is it splits an image, one stamped image, so that half of it, one side of it is stamped and the other side of it is heat embossed. And I found that interesting. Now, it's the first time I saw it just the other day, and I don't know if anyone else has already seen it, and I'm just late to the party. But I just figured I would make it, and I loved it, and I wanted to come on and share it with you. So I'll show you what I made, and this one was made with white cardstock and the Starry Sky. And let's see, I always get this wrong about how to show you the card. All right, so, okay, there you go. So I stamped the image, and that's from Nature's Harvest, and it's stamped, so part of it is stamped, right, on white cardstock, but the other side is heat embossed with white embossing powder. And I just thought, oh God, I got to do that because I'm not sure how it's done. So I did find someone on YouTube, and now I can't, I didn't write it down, and I'm like, oh gosh, I can't give her credit because I'm like, I can't remember who it is. So my apologies if you see my video and you think I've copied it. I apologize that I can't remember who it was. So I'm going to, and then what you do is you do an opposite, so that in this one I have, I have it stamped on, well, I have the white on one side and the blue on the other, and then I did it the other way around, as you can see on the other card, because you can pretty much make two at the same time. I'm going to flip the camera so you can see a better view. All right, so these are the two cards. So as you can see, white and blue, blue and white. So it's stamped on the white, stamped on the white on that side, and it's heat embossed with white embossing powder on the blue. It is so easy to put together, but isn't it like really like crazy, like cool? Like, I love the idea of how to do that. And I'm telling you, your mind's going to be blown. It's so easy. And then stick around to the end because I'll show you the other cards that I did in different colors. So this card, as I said, I did it in with Starry Sky and white. But I'm going to do the one for the video, I'm going to do it in Melon Mambo, just for something different. So what you're going to need is two card bases, because we're going to make two at the same time. So you're going to need Melon Mambo and white card bases, the typical, 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So you're going to need one of each. You're going to need two additional pieces of Melon Mambo cut at 5 1/4 by 4. You'll need an inside layer of measuring 5 1/4 by 4, but then you're also going to need an inside layer for the one that's going to be the white, that measures 5 by 3 3/4, because I want to mount it onto a piece of Melon Mambo and put it on the inside so that it's not so, you can do white on white, nothing wrong with that. I just thought it might look prettier to do it with the Melon Mambo, because that's what I did for the blue one. no, that's not the one I'm looking for. I meant to say the white one of this. So I put Starry Sky on the inside and then my stamped inside layer. And I like the look of it much better. So that's what we're going to do for this one. So those are your measurements, but don't worry about memorizing them because I'm going to include all the measurements and the supplies. So you'll have everything that you need to be able to replicate this card. All right, so what you are also going to need though is a Stamparatus, and I almost hate to say it because it's not available anymore. So if you have a Misty, if you have a Tim Holtz stamping platform, which is what I started out with before Stampin' Up! Began selling, the Stamparatus, you know what? I just remembered something. Hold on. I'm gonna do this because I'm forgetting an important piece to this whole puzzle. Figures I would miss a step. I need to cut another piece of 5 1/4 by 4. And let me see, do I already have, no, I do need it. If I find I don't need it after all, then I'll just have an extra piece of card layer. All right, and like I said, don't worry about having all the measurements and the supplies and the, what you're going to need to make the card, because I will tell you. But like I said, you're going to need a stamping platform because you're going to be stamping 2 pieces with the stamp, and you're going to need to have the stamp be in exactly the same place for both. All right, so of course I just had my magnets stick together. Don't put your magnets near each other. I need to tell myself. The other day I did it by accident. I put them on the table separate, but they were close enough that they magnetized and they slammed together. It took me 10 minutes to get them apart. So just don't put them anywhere near each other. All right, if you have some kind of stamping platform, because I don't think you're going to be able to do this free-handed. You can try. I don't trust myself to be able to put it in exactly the same place, because what we're going to do, and I'll tell you just how it's going to come together. I'm not giving away any state secrets here. Once we stamp, we're going to stamp on the white with the Melon Mambo ink. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut it in half. And then 1/2 will go to one card and 1/2 will go to the other. Then we're going to do the same thing with the Melon Mambo, and that's why you need to have the stamp in exactly the same place. You're going to stamp it, but you're going to stamp it with Versamark, and then we're going to heat emboss it, and then we're going to cut that in half, and then we'll take the 2 opposite pieces and put them together, and that's the magic. All right, so I'm placing the image somewhat in the middle. No science to it at all. Oh, you know what I like to do too is to take the stamp case and put it next to it. Let me move this over a little bit. Okay, make sure that's nice and adhered. And the reason I do that is when you open it, that way it has a platform, because otherwise it kind of falls down and you're stamping and it's bouncing up and down. But if you put a stamp case under it, and you may already know that, I don't know, but that's, in case you don't, that's a little technique, and that way when you go to put your ink on it, at least it's not bouncing up and down. All right, so I'm just using Melon Mambo ink. And when I close the case, I think it's gonna, I think you might end up seeing the light in my ceiling. Wait, that doesn't look enough inked up. Okay, let me try that. And if it's not inked up enough, obviously you know that, oh yeah, you can see the ceiling light. We can just put it back down and put more ink on it, right? That's the beauty of it. Oh, but I don't have to, because it transferred beautifully. So I'm going to use my Simply Chamois, which I absolutely love, the Stampin' Up! Simply Chamois, because it's so durable, just like a spongy thing. And it just refreshes by putting it under tap water. Couldn't get any easier than that. I bought some baby wipes recently, and unfortunately they weren't great baby wipes because they had a lot of soapy stuff in them. So when I was wiping my my stamps, they were sudsing up, and I'm like, oh, that's not, I didn't like that. It took me forever to get the suds off it. So the Simply Chamois doesn't do that. All right, so I've cleaned the ink off the stamp, because you don't want to then put the Versamark over it with the ink still on it, because you don't want to get ink into your Versamark, because you see mine's a little yellowy, because yeah, I didn't clean it off really well. So I ended up getting some ink on it. It doesn't do anything to it, but you don't, if you get too much ink, what's going to happen over time, you're going to transfer that ink onto your card where you don't want it. All right, so for this one, on the Melon Mambo, measuring 5 1/4 by 4, we're going to be using the Versamark to do our heat embossing. And the Versamark is has like a sticky, it's like a sticky crafty ink, and that's what allows the embossing powder to stick to it. Oh, you know what I didn't? Oh wait, I haven't finished. I haven't stamped yet. I'm going to use my embossing buddy, which is so old. You can use to demagnetize so the embossing powder doesn't flick everywhere. And this has, I don't know if it's baby powder or cornstarch. I'm not sure. But you can use a used dryer sheet, and that'll work too. And Stampin' Up! Did bring the embossing buddy back, but only as part of the embossing toolkit. I'll tell you, it's worth it. The embossing tool kit, all the you know, with the brush and the little pan, they didn't have that, but I may get it. All right, so now I'm going to stamp it. And, oh, it looks pretty good. Sometimes it's hard to tell. All right, now I want to get, I'm going to move this over. Put it on my, all right, and now I'm getting my coffee filter. This is the only thing I use these filters for anymore. I don't make coffee with them. None of us do, I don't think. We all use like the K-cups. All right. Then flick them back a little just to get some of that excess off. Oh, there we go. That's beautiful. I'm going to set that aside. Now, I'm going to turn on my heat tool, and it's going to be a little loud, but bear with me, and then the embossing powder will start to melt, and then you'll see the magic of embossing. So I'm just going to heat it up a little bit off camera to get it warmed up. And if you're doing multiple projects with your heat tool, after a while, you don't, it melts really fast because it stays pretty warm. Okay, I'm going to bring it in, and I'm not going to say anything because it might be too loud. Can you see the embossing powder start to change now? It starts to melt. There we go. And there you have your embossing. I hope it came through on the camera. As it starts to melt, it does it in a big wave, and it's weirdly satisfying watching it. It's like one of those weird things, and you get excited when you see it happening. All right, now the next step, super easy. You're going to take both your stamped and embossed pieces, and you're going to cut them in half. So we're going to cut them at 2 inches because this measures 4, right? 5 1/4 by 4. So just cut them at 2 inches. Same thing with this one. Cut it at 2 inches. Oops, that's it for that. And then you have your 4 pieces, but you mix and match now. So you have these 2 pieces and these 2 pieces. You put them one half with the other half, and because you used your Stamparatus and stamped them in exactly the same position on the 2 cardstocks, they will match up perfectly when you put the 2 sides together. And that's how you do it. I mean, is that the easiest thing like ever? All right, so now we're going to put it together. You're going to take your, I want to start with the white. We're going to do the white with the stamped side, the white stamped side on, no, not doing the white. Hold on. Doing this wrong. The Melon Mambo. Let me fold it. All right. Now, I'm doing the white on the Melon Mambo. See, that didn't make sense to me at first. I'm like, wait a minute, why does this not look right? So you'll put the white onto the colored cardstock, whatever color you choose. Okay, my liquid ink is deciding not to work. Let's see what I have that can work. Oh. Some of these bottles get gunked up. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm just going to open a new one. Not even have to worry about it. There. I have to put it like a, I'm going to have to put like a pin in there and ungunk it. All right, so we have the right piece, and that's going to go right there. There we go. And place it about there, because you want to just give yourself a little bit of a border, just as you would if this was a whole piece. And then you'll have your other side, right? So you're just going to measure it. It's going to look like it blends in with the card base, but all you're going to do is align this piece with, with the other side at the top and the bottom, and it's going to line up perfectly. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other side, with the other 2 pieces. Let's see, let me get these lined up. Oh God, that looks so good. All right, now we're going to use our white, and we'll line up the Melon Mambo on the left-hand side. And line it up on the left with a little bit of a border. And now we have our white stamped image. It's going to go on the right, and that's going to blend in with the white card base. So it's sort of going to, that'll fade to the background, so you won't even notice it. You won't notice it. It's like 2 pieces. Let's see, let me get that lined up. little glue there. So I'm going to use this glue eraser that you can find, just this little gummy glue eraser. You can find them at the dollar store, and they're only $1.25. All right, so we have the two pieces together, right? Opposites. And that way, when you're, when you have your 5 1/4 by 4 and you're doing your stamping, when you cut them down the middle, now you have enough to make 2 cards. So that's what we did. Let's see. This is going to go into here, right? No, that's going to go over there. This is the smaller one. Let me put that aside. And we're going to do, all right. So then we have some strips, sentiment strips, and let's see. I have a birthday sentiment, have a perfect birthday, that I got from Blessings of Home. Oh, let me move one of my cards over. Blessings from Home, not Blessings from Home. Oh yeah, Blessings of Home. Then I have a perfect birthday, because I wanted a long sentiment to go across. So I'm going to use my Melon Mambo ink, wherever it went. Oh, here it is. I buried it. I'm famous for doing that. Set it aside and it gets buried. Okay, come on, open up. All right. Okay, fingers crossed that I can do this without sticking my head in the camera. Ugh, kind of sideways. Oh, we'll try it again. Let me stand up, see if I can do a better job. Better. Okay. I'll do another one for the other card. Okay, that's going to be good enough. All right, let me clean my stamp. Set that aside. And I'm going to use some dimensionals on the back. I like popping up my sentiment labels as much as I can. Makes it, kind of gives it some visual interest. Okay, so I think 4 for each one should be good enough. And these are just the regular dimensionals, not the mini ones. Okay. Okay, last one. I'm going to put it on at an angle, just across the bottom. Like that. Same thing with the other one. And then we'll do the inside. Get rid of that. Okay. So for my original one, let's see, where did I put, oh, here are my 2 original ones. You notice anything about the sentiment labels? This one is on white and it's stamped. This one is on Starry Sky and I embossed it. I found it was a little bit of a pain in the neck embossing it with very small text. It would get muddy, and I did it a few times, and I finally said, you know what? And this one did come out okay. And so you can do that. You can do one stamped on white and one for the card base color, and heat emboss it in white. For the video, I decided to just use white and then just stamp it because I didn't want to get caught up in having it be kind of messy and then, you know, it would be, I just didn't want to go through all of that. So I just decided to keep it with the white sentiment labels. So now we will stamp the sentiment, and I'm using, let's see, I'm using another stamp set. You don't have to jump around like I did. I was just looking for a bunch of different sentiments. So I'm using Best Wishes and Happy Thoughts from Nature's Prints. This one is being carried over into the new 2023-24 catalog. The Nature's Harvest that I'm using right now is not being carried over. But I love coneflowers, and I'm probably going to keep this stamp set. So I'm just using it for the time being because it's another couple of weeks before the catalog retires, and I'm just going to keep making cards with it. All right, so I'm just going to put the Best Wishes and Happy Thoughts. Oh, let's see. Hopefully it's not going to have a shadow around it. And I put my sentiments at the top to give myself some room in the middle for to write. Oh yeah, that came out okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other one while I have it. And then we can just put it aside and go on to the next step. There we go. And I'm going to clean my stamp while I'm thinking of it, so I don't put it away dirty. Now what I would like to do is take that same coneflower image, and I'm going to stamp a partial image on the bottom. So I'm just going to mount it on one of Stampin' Up's large blocks. I don't remember what the number is. E? It might be E. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm just inking up the top of it, and I'm going to turn this sideways, and I'm going to just stamp it at the bottom. And that's just to carry the theme from the front to the inside. It just makes the inside look kind of pretty. So you see how nice that ends up making it look? I love that. All right, so set that aside, and I'm going to ink it up again. Do the same thing. I'm just going to turn it, the only reason I'm turning it is because it's easier for me to stamp it that way. Okay, there we have that. So this is going to, well, you know what, I'm going to put my elbow in this if I don't close it. I just know it. So this one measures, oh, did I do it on the wrong one? Hold on. Watch, I probably put it on. Oh no, this one is going to go, this one is going to go inside. This is 5 1/4 by 4. And it's going to go inside the Melon Mambo card base. And then this one measures 5 by 3 3/4, and we're going to mount it onto the Melon Mambo piece that measures 5 1/4 by 4. But again, like I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to have all of the measurements, all of the instructions, and you'll be able to follow step by step. Okay, so again, this is 5 by 3 3/4, and we're mounting it onto a piece of Melon Mambo that measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Right? Now I'm going to just turn it over and give it a little bit of a back rub just in case I have glue or ink on my hands. I don't want to transfer it onto the white cardstock. All right, and now we'll take that and put some adhesive, your adhesive of choice. I'm just using liquid glue because it has a little bit of a few seconds of forgiveness that you can move it around if you put it down in the wrong place, or you need a little bit of wiggle room to move it around a little bit. Other adhesives don't have that ability. All right. Again, I'm just going to turn it over and give it a little back rub. Okay, and now let me just set that right there, and we'll put the white layer on the inside of the Melon Mambo card base. There we have it. Is that great? I just think it's just so cool. You know, once this side is heat embossed, this side's stamped. Now this side's stamped, and that's heat embossed. It's just an easy way to put them together when you don't realize that all you have to do is take the two pieces, 5 1/4 by 4, stamp one, and then heat emboss the other, cut them in half and put them together, and boom, you have a really cool looking technique. Now, I also did these, like I showed you, I did them in the Starry Sky. So I'll set, these are the Melon Mambos. I showed you these in the beginning, the Starry Sky. I also did them in Highland Heather, because who doesn't love Highland Heather, right? It's just an awesome color. Glad that it's sticking around. And I also did one in Daffodil Delight, because there definitely are some coneflowers that are yellow and so beautiful. So look, I mean, you got the opposites. So pretty. This one I did with just the white inside, and this one again with the Daffodil Delight and the white. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. There you are. Glad to see you again. I hope you enjoyed it and that you will give this technique a try. I'll always try to bring you some interesting and fun techniques and designs for you to try. So if you enjoyed my content, if you could hit the subscribe button and maybe even click the bell so that you can be notified when I upload new content. And you can also head over to my website, silverlady.com, where I'll be posting additional information and details about this project. And I really enjoy having you join me, and I enjoy reading your comments. I reply to everyone that makes a comment. So thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye for now.